everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kevin, and this week Nikki is out sick, but I have my whole family basically here joining me. So it's the first time for my dad to join the podcast. But we also got Doug and Braden joining me again this week. Everybody, how is it going?
Very good.
I'm good.
Okay, Dad, you just good? Okay. Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. But
That's yeah. Well, hey, real quick before we get started, how
Yes.
about those Seahawks? I just wanted a little shout out to Braden. I know a lot of people don't think the game was very good. I'm a defensive guy, but when you're a Seahawks fan like my son, I just wanted to give a little shout out to a hell of a win. So that is awesome.
There
That
you
is
go.
awesome.
And that, yeah.
What a game.
Yeah, it was great from our standpoint. So
Yeah.
And now back to the regular scheduled programming. I'll get off that and we can move on to something else. So.
Yeah. I mean, I did not watch because I was asleep so that I could go to work. I know my dad didn't really care for the game because he doesn't like a defensive game. But that's.
He texted me in the second half that he was watching YouTube videos. Yeah. So does that tell you anything?
But anyway, this week we talked about football with Doug and Braden a few weeks ago. But this week, my uncle has been adamant about getting my father on this podcast, mainly because he wants to see his ugly mug on television or on the internet. So we finally found a topic that he's willing to do, which is we're going to talk about NASCAR this week. So, Dad, you've been watching NASCAR since you were a kid. You got me into NASCAR. I don't know if you got Doug into NASCAR or if Doug was kind of, I'm guessing you probably, I don't know if you got Doug into NASCAR or not. Actually, that's a good question.
Well, yeah, I mean, because we watched it at home as kids, so yeah.
Okay. So, we got the Daytona 500 coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest race of the year. What are you looking forward to for this race? Like, what are you looking forward to for this year? For this coming up, we've got, it's the start of the new year. What are you looking forward to?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's good racing this year because the racing has been terrible. You get in a line, you go in a circle, they follow each other. That's not racing. That's just following each other in a line. I hope they would get the cars to where they can actually race instead of just follow each other. That's what I want to see out of it.
Okay. Doug, do you and Braden watch? Braden, do you watch that much racing?
Yeah, we watch them all the way up until the playoffs start because that's when the NFL season starts. But we watch the regular season races.
Okay. Do you guys have anything that you want to see out of this year, or are you kind of on the same page?
I'm looking forward to a couple of the races later in the year, but nothing in particular.
Okay.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, I'm just looking forward to they need to have more racing per se. And I agree with Ivan, instead of just, waiting until the last 25 laps to actually do something and just go in a line. And, whether that's part of the cars or just part of, the whole point system, how everything works, I don't know. But, I mean, it's a new season. They've changed the playoffs. They call it the chase now. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure we'll get into some more of that stuff a little later. But, yeah, it'll just kind of be interesting to see if some of the changes when it comes to the points and stuff will make them race a little different.
So what tracks do you think are the most fun to watch, or what track do you think is the most fun to watch, and which one would you eliminate if you could just do whatever you wanted to with the racing year?
Well, I like Talladega and Daytona.
Okay.
For the high speeds, and whether anybody likes it or not, you watch it for the wreck.
Yeah.
And that's where the biggest wrecks are going to be. I want nobody to get hurt, but you want to see wrecks. Those are my two favorite tracks. As far as eliminating tracks, Bowman Gray would be my first. Wilkesboro, how do you pronounce that one, will
Wilkesboro,
be
yeah.
second. That would be my second track. They suck,
Okay.
both of them. I mean, Bowman Gray is too small to have that many cars on it.
I guess I haven't seen that track because I don't remember even hearing of that track
It
before.
it's only a quarter mile. I mean,
Aren't
it,
they
Oh,
it's
okay.
doing? Aren't they
yeah.
doing a full race there with all 40 cars this year?
Oh, I don't know if they
Oh,
are.
are
That's a
I
they?
mistake.
Yeah.
I thought they were doing a points race this year for it. I don't know how that would work though. There's no way they could.
I know they just had an event there a couple weeks ago, but I
And it
didn't
was a
know
disaster.
it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was a disaster, and there wasn't even all the cars on the track. There was only, what, 20 or 22 cars on the track.
Yeah.
I know it
I
got
don't know.
delayed a couple weeks because of the snowstorms and things, but I didn't actually watch it. I had never even heard of the track, so I don't know where it is or anything else, so I've never even heard of it. But
Yeah.
um,
You didn't miss anything.
yeah, I mean, my favorite to watch is the road courses. I think they're the most fun to watch. I mean, obviously Talladega and Daytona are fun to watch because it's again just the high speeds, but I think the road courses are the most fun, truthfully, because they're just it's something different than anything else. So, but I don't know what do you think, Doug? Like, do you have a favorite
Well,
course?
my favorite track now is Atlanta. It races like a super speedway since they redid it and stuff. So that's my favorite. Used to um, Bristol was my favorite,
That makes sense.
but Bristol has I don't know what's happened. It with these next gen cars, it doesn't race like it used to. The next gen cars race great on Atlanta. I think it's some of the best racing, and you don't. The weird thing about Atlanta is you get the same speed you got at Daytona and Talladega, but you don't always have the big wreck and stuff. And there's a lot more passing. There's a ton
Okay.
of passing and stuff. But yeah, Bristol used to be my old one. I mean,
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to, and Braden is the one that brought this up this year. Um, they're racing at a military track.
Oh, interesting.
They're racing at a military base. It's like what'd you say, Braden? A 3.2 mile track or something?
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
it's over 3 miles for one lap.
that's a
So
Yeah.
big
that'll
track.
So
be
I'm really looking forward to that this year. That road course to kind of see how it all plays out. So,
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see because that's a big course. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Do you, Braden? I don't know that many drivers anymore. I will say that I haven't watched racing religiously in like 15 years, 16 years. I basically watch one race a year, and that's about it because most of the time I'm sleeping at the time the races are on because of my work schedule. But uh, Braden, do you have a favorite driver?
I I was thinking about this. I really don't. I like all of the Hendrick guys.
Okay.
If I had to pick one, I would probably say Chase Elliott. Just like every interview I've seen, even last night after the duel win, like he always like is super laid back, super calm. And I mean he's like been the most popular driver,
Yeah.
so everyone seems to like him. So if I had to pick, but I like William Byron, like all the Hendrick guys, I like those guys.
All right. Dad, who is your favorite driver now? Because I know it changes. It seems like on a daily basis when I talk to you. So
I mean, I've been enjoying Logano pretty much for
yeah,
years.
you have that used to not be true at all. I
Oh, I
remember.
didn't used to like him, but I do like him. I've liked him for several years.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy off the track,
Mm-hmm.
and on the track, he will race you to the limit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's why I like him.
Okay.
I think he's a goofball looking dude right now, but But
Doug,
anyway, no, I like him.
Doug, do you have a favorite driver in NASCAR right now?
right now, not really.
Okay.
I have learned to like Kyle Busch a lot more than I used to.
Okay.
Um, and I think Blaney's great. Noah Grayson is absolutely hilarious. He should be a comedian. Anytime you get an interview of him, I mean, I don't think he's that great a racer, but as far as like an interview and stuff, he's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, currently kind of Kyle and Blaney. Those are probably my two right now.
Okay.
Um,
Do you guys
everyone
have?
likes Chase, so
Yeah.
but
Do you guys have historic like who would you if you go back through the years? Who was your favorite driver? Like historically, we'll start with you, Doug, since you just went. Who is your,
Oh,
like?
by far, Bobby Labonte.
Okay,
Yeah, he drove
that
the
makes
green
sense.
interstate car.
Yeah,
First time your dad and I went down to Texas, and I don't remember if you was with us
I
or
was.
not.
Yep, that was with me, you, and Grandma, and Dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had the pole,
Yep.
and then he didn't even lead the first damn lap. So, I was so excited. You have a great lap, and he never. Yeah, you get the pole. I'm stoked. He's got the best car and didn't lead a single lap. So,
I
but yeah,
don't. I
by far, Bobby's
I have
always
a
been my
story
favorite
about
driver.
that. I have a story about that for one of our questions later. We'll get to that
Oh,
later.
I think we all have the same story
I'm sure
because
we
I
do,
think I
Doug.
know what you're talking about,
Sure
and I
we
don't know
do,
that
Doug.
Braden has heard it.
I
So,
don't
but
know that he
I don't think
has.
so. I don't.
yeah,
You've not said anything. So
yeah.
But Braden, do you have? I don't know if you really remember that many drivers. Do you have any historic? Like, do you know of any other drivers besides what's in
I
there now?
like Harvick and Boyer that are the Fox announcers. I remember them driving, but
Okay,
other than those guys,
not really.
I haven't been watching long enough. So
Okay, Dad, who is your favorite? I mean, I would guess Jeff Gordon because that was used to be your favorite, but I
Well,
don't know
Jeff
if that's
Gordon is my all-time favorite, but before Jeff Gordon would be Darrell Waltrip.
okay. I know you did not like Darrell Waltrip as an announcer, but
I like him as an announcer, but I like him as a racer.
yeah, okay. Um, I mean, I think I was a Jeff Gordon fan because you were a Jeff Gordon fan, which was probably my favorite racer. But I, that would probably be my answer as well. But I think that was because of you being a Jeff Gordon fan as well. So, um, if you could interview any driver, who would it be, Dad?
Darrell Waltrip.
Waltrip. Okay.
Mhm.
DW.
Yeah, he DW. I mean, he didn't ever put up with any crap on the track. He was a very aggressive driver. He was a good driver. If I remember right, he won 83 races. He won 3 championships. Um, he's funny. I mean, he's a
Mm-hmm.
funny guy. I
Yeah.
mean, he's very intense, and he's still intense. I seen an interview with him probably a year ago. The guy's got to be late 70s now, maybe even early 80s. He's still got his sense of humor, but he's still got his passion as much as he ever did for NASCAR.
Yeah. Doug, do you have a driver who you would want to interview?
Oh yeah, mine's pretty boring, but probably just Richard Petty. I mean, with
Oh yeah.
200 wins and just the knowledge. I've always said, if you want to learn something, yeah, you can learn a lot in a book, but go talk to someone who's lived it,
Old
who's had a
person.
whole life
Yeah.
of experiences and stuff. And that man's probably forgot more about racing than, than he could even, he's seen it from the early days of, when it actually, in my opinion, was better.
Yeah.
And, he's still pretty opinionated, but, I just think just sitting down and picking his brain of knowledge on where it was at, where he started and where it's at now, I think would be really fascinating.
Okay. Um, Braden, do you have somebody you would like to interview?
he mentioned him earlier. I said Gregson because he is hilarious. So
Okay.
I think he'd be funny to interview. But
Okay. Um, Dad, you're the one who watches NASCAR more than any of us. So you're gonna have, I think, huh?
Used to. I don't know if I do anymore or not because I think, well, I probably still do because I still watch the truck races and everything. They don't watch the truck races, do you?
I don't know.
No, and you listen to a lot of XM radio,
NASCAR
don't
I
you, on
listen
the
to a ton of
NASCAR talk?
NASCAR radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I do.
he is by far
You pay attention to more NASCAR than any of
he
us.
knows more about
Yeah.
NASCAR than any of us by
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
So I want to move into like the questions about where this sport is going because it hasn't been doing great recently in the past few years. And I want to know what you think, what your idea is to possibly help it, and where you think it's going in the future.
Well, it's either going to be gone in the future in 10 years, in my opinion, if they don't change what they're doing. They got to, in my opinion, they need to bring like 2 different sets of tires to every track and let the drivers decide which tire they want. They've got to give the teams more control of how they set up their spoiler. They need to give them 750 horsepower, 700 horsepower, whatever you want to give them. Give them a gear ratio that they have to use and how they want to tune that car, adjust that car, set up the splitter, set up the spoiler. All that kind of stuff needs to be left to the team Because right now the way it is they go through a machine and every car has to be within a centimeter of each other or they get penalized. That's why they run in a line now. They've got to give these teams more a better chance of adjusting the cars the way they want them. That's what made this sport, and that's what it needs to go back to. Or I really don't think NASCAR will be around in 10 years.
Okay, Doug, what do you think? You
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think they've got to do a lot of things, you know, to, you know, there's so many new avenues to watch stuff on TV that you've got to do something to get fans, younger fans, more involved. I think F1 is doing so good with their commercials. They're great. I mean, I worked at Sears when I was younger, and they put out a promotional thing called the Softer Side of Sears, and Sears went on this huge run. So, reaching those fans that are on TV, those younger fans, Braden and I've talked about um, doing things like, not stopping a race after 50%, and stuff like that. Um, I'm for limiting practice time. I don't like being able to practice a ton before. I think you ought to basically be able to take your car to the track and make adjustments as you go. And the better team that's better apt to communicate with the driver and the crew chief to make those right adjustments, I think that would help out too, instead of everybody just honing everything in and the car being perfect when you get on the track. And I realize race conditions, you got to make adjustments, but I would really, really limit practice time.
Mm-hmm. I I was talking with you about that the other day, Dad. You said they don't practice nearly as much as what they do any used to.
Don't practice nearly as much before. They don't do a lot of qualifying at certain tracks, like Daytona, of course they do. A lot of tracks they don't do that. They limit how. I think some tracks they qualify at, some they don't. Some they go off of the way I understand it. And I could be wrong, but I think they go off of how they finished the race before a lot of times.
Okay. I again don't watch this much. One of the things that I think, and I know that this is probably going to be a hot take, but I know you talked about this, and I think one thing that does help F1, but Doug, you did mention F1 in this, and I think one of the things that helps F1 a lot is that most of the races are done in like 90 minutes. And I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
if they would and you talked about not quitting the race halfway through, and I think if they would shorten some of these NASCAR races, that would help too.
Yeah.
Because when some of these races go 4.5, 5 hours, that is a long time. And I know that used to, when it was an endurance thing, and you would have cars breaking down in the middle of the race because that engine couldn't make it. It was more of a challenge, but none of them do that anymore, so it's not actually a challenge. Um, so it's not a thing. Like I remember when I was a kid and me and my dad used to watch the Coca-Cola 600. You would have, five, six, seven, eight cars that would explode in the middle. Not actually, explode, but the engine would blow in the middle of the race because they couldn't actually handle that type of uh, endurance for 600 miles. But now that doesn't happen because any of those engines can handle that. Um, so it doesn't, it's not anything that they can't do anymore. So I think they probably should shorten some of these races.
I agree. And the other thing I forgot that I was going to say is I get rid of that rear view mirror where you can't see.
Yeah.
I think that is, I think part of that is it's attributing to blocking and stuff like that, so they can see if someone's getting a run on them and stuff like that. Man, no, you rely on your spotter. If your spotter sucks, you're going to wreck or something. But
Yeah.
I don't like the camera. I don't like the camera at all.
Yeah.
So
Another thing that I do think that would help too, and this is just me personally, I think they need to cut out some of the mile-and-a-half tracks that they keep going to all the time, and I also think they need to stop going to the same track multiple times a year. I don't understand why we go to the same track twice a year when there's so many tracks out there. There's so many different tracks that you could go to that they could add different tracks, and it would be fine personally, but that's just
Agree
me.
with that. I don't want to see Texas twice. Texas technically isn't that good of a race anymore.
Exactly.
It's another one where they just get in a line and go.
Yeah. So I think they could do some changes like that. Um, again, I'm not an expert. None of us are experts. We're all just a bunch of
Yeah.
random people who are just speaking what we would like to see. Um,
Yeah, Braden, I know you and I've talked about this. Did we not cover something that you and I've talked about? I know you and I've talked about really enjoying the two tires at every track. That way you can, there's a lot of strategy there.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think that's a good idea. I think Kevin's idea of shortening the races, because yeah, some of these races are long, and like thinking about it, a normal football games, 3.5 hours. So it's not, those aren't long, those aren't 5 hour events.
yeah.
But I don't remember NASCAR, before they made all these changes. So I don't have a huge issue of, where it's at, but I didn't watch it 30 years ago when every track was full. So I don't, I one thing I don't like is how all the teams have each other's data and can see in the moment what every other driver is doing. I don't like that. Like if Hendrick wants their guys to see their data and what they're doing, that's fine. But Ford and Toyota being able to see what those guys are doing, I don't agree with that. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that will ever get changed.
and I think that's part of the technology issue. I think technology is actually ruining the sport to some extent. I think when you go back and you didn't have all that. I mean, we've even talked about that just with our cars nowadays. You got to hook them up to a computer. That's all it is. There's technology is great, but sometimes I think it's hurting the sport at the same time. So
Do you think what changes do you think they could make to improve fan engagement, Dad?
There again, I'll go back to what I said earlier, where they've got to get the cars to where they're actually racing instead of just following each other in a line. I mean, they've tried a few things, but they haven't gone far enough. I mean, one of the big things they've done is lower prices on tickets and stuff that's still not filling the stands. I mean, you got what is it, several racetracks you'll go and there ain't nobody sitting on the backstretch.
Mm-hmm.
And the backstretch used to be completely, I mean, you couldn't get a ticket,
Yeah.
Anywhere in that place. But I think they've got to just get the cars to where they're actually racing again instead of following each other.
Um, Doug, is there anything that you think of when you think of this fan experience that you want to see? Like,
yeah, I mean, Braden and I just went to Kansas last year,
mm-hmm.
and I personally think at the track it was a lot better than what it was when we used to go to Texas. I mean,
Okay.
we didn't participate in the car simulators and all this and that. They have a lot of stuff outside the gates, and then the access you have to the infield. Now, personally, I would make that free.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay for that. I personally think that you would get more fan involvement if everyone could go down there. You have pretty good access. We were right up within 10, 12 feet of the cars. If we would have waited long enough, you could see some drivers come out. So I think they're doing a really good job at the track trying to get the fans involved.
Okay.
I just think they're struggling on the TV side.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're really struggling and losing so many of that younger generation.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense.
I don't know, Braden. What did you think when we were at the track? Did you think it was? I thought there was a lot of stuff to get.
Yeah, I mean, it was my first race, but I had a really good experience. Like the race itself was good. Like the pre-race stuff. We were walking around beforehand, looking at stuff, all the trailers and stuff. So I didn't have an issue with it, but I don't know if it was like that in years past, or I know every track is probably a little bit different and they all do something different, but I thought Kansas did well.
So, Dad, you're again the most probably watched of the NASCAR fans here. What was your favorite moment from last year?
When Denny Hamlin won the championship,
When Denny Hamlin won the championship?
did not win the
Did not win the
championship.
championship. Okay. I was going to say, I didn't think Denny Hamlin won the championship, did he?
No, Larson did.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't pay that close of attention, but I don't remember that happening. So,
No, Larson won, and Denny Aida came in second or third. I don't remember.
yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think he won. But, okay, fine. You're talking about championships. I'll just go into this question immediately before I ask Doug or Braden what their favorite was. Who do you think has the best chance of winning this year?
William Byron.
William Byron. Okay.
Yep, he's with, in my opinion, the best team in NASCAR. He's ran very consistent the last few years. He's got a strong car. and I just think it's his year.
Okay. Um, Doug, same question to you. Who do you think has the best chance of winning this year, and what was your favorite moment from last year?
Favorite moment from last year was Ryan Preece flipping at Daytona.
Okay.
That was the that's a testament to those cars. I
Oh,
mean, the
it's
fact that he walked away was
yeah.
unbelievable. I think Chase Elliott. I think it's his year.
Okay.
You know, yeah. There's just something about him. I think he seemed a lot more focused last year. You know, after that couple years ago when he had that broken leg, and he just kind of seemed. It took a while to get back in the groove. I thought last year was a pretty good year, but I just feel that he's going to have a good year this year.
Okay. Bray, what about you?
Favorite moment from last year, I'm going with Hamlin, but something different. When he got his 60th win at Vegas after his dad, had declined in health or something, like
Hmm.
when he after he got out of the car, like he was normally trolling the fans and stuff, but this he was like emotional and didn't give the fans any crap. I thought that was cool. And then driver has the best chance of winning. I said Briscoe. I think last year he got in that 19 car, and I mean, wasn't he in the final four or
Yeah,
close to it or something? So
yeah.
I think he's in obviously better equipment now, and I think he's a really good driver. So, and he seems like a good guy. So I wouldn't mind Briscoe winning.
Okay. I again didn't have. I watched one race last year, so I don't have a most memorable moment from last year. I can tell you my favorite moment from the last few years, and it was watching. And again, glad he didn't get hurt. But watching Montoya run into the jet dryer was probably one of my favorite moments from the last several years. Whenever he
Yeah,
ran into the jet dryer at
Yeah.
Daytona and literally caused a mass fireball and caused the race to stop for like an hour and a half while they had to fix track. Um,
yeah,
that was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen on a NASCAR track. I'm glad nobody was hurt because I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I've never seen a car on a pace lap run into it. I've never seen a car run into a jet dryer anyway, but watching it run into a jet dryer on a pace lap is just another level all entirely. Um, Dad, what is your favorite memory of being a NASCAR fan? What is your favorite memory of all time of being a NASCAR fan?
It was the first, and that's the race that we went to because it wasn't on those bleachers. When we sat on the second or third row,
Mm-hmm.
and those cars come out of turn four full speed in front of us because we were sitting on the start finish line, you could not turn your head fast enough to keep up with those cars.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. That was my favorite memory.
Okay.
yeah. We had tar on us
Yep.
from the tires when we
Yep.
left. Yeah,
We did.
yeah.
So that was my favorite memory.
Doug, what about you?
Oh, those freaking bleachers! That death trap!
Yep.
That first time we went, and I don't know
Yep.
if I've told you about this, Braden.
Yep.
Texas,
That was
Texas
mine.
was Texas was overfull. They put up these temporary bleachers, and I'm telling you, they were wooden. And
Cheap.
I think I was more worried about dying
Yep.
than I was watching the race. Those bleachers, it was a death trap. And you know what? We went back. I think the next year they never had them again.
No.
We never saw.
Nope.
I mean, these weren't like metal, good, sturdy. These were like the Amish came in and threw some bleachers up in the last minute, and that's where our seats were. And
And
not
we were
knocking the
like,
Amish, they're great builders, but these bleachers were not well built.
and
That's all
what
I can say.
we had to have been like a couple stories in the air. Like we were high too.
Weren't we high, Ivan? It seemed like we were quite a ways
We
up.
were
We
almost as high. We were at the highest. Like we were only like a couple rows from the top, and it was a ways up there too, if I
Yeah,
remember
I would say
correctly.
we was 20 feet high.
Yeah,
Oh, it was,
and it was
Wood that it wasn't even new wood. It was old wood they found in some barn somewhere.
yeah,
Because I mean, if you
yeah.
remember
it
right,
was
they dipped as you walked across them on the,
yeah,
on the walking area. They dipped.
it was
Yeah.
terrifying.
And for someone who's afraid of heights,
Right.
yeah, it caused PSTD. I'm still
It was
traumatized by it.
also, if I remember correctly, it was a relatively cold and windy
Yeah,
time in
Yeah.
Texas for that time of year. Like it was kind of cold and windy in Texas for that time of year, which is odd. But yes, that was mine too, Doug. That was the exact same thing that I
when
had.
you started saying earlier, I had a feeling which direction he was going. So
That is
yeah,
exactly the same thing that I had is mine. So,
yeah.
yes. Braden, do you have do you have a favorite memory from NASCAR?
Well, the race we went to last year, it would have to be that because I just remember when they started the race, just that pace car pulled off and they're coming out and they hit that restart zone and when they got going up through those gears, I remember I looked over at him and I was like, "Holy crap!" Like I didn't say crap either. Like those cars are loud.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
cool.
just couldn't believe how loud they were. You know, he
Yeah,
had all 40 out there at one time. It was
I
insane.
mean, it's cool to see. Like, it's everybody jokes that you're just watching them go and make left turns around a circle. Like it is. It's just them driving around in a circle for 5 hours, but it is difficult because I can't drive 6 inches from the car next to me at 200 miles an hour and not crash. I don't know how to do that. And it is, it's fun to watch. Like, and it's a lot more fun to go see in person. Like,
Yeah.
it can get boring. I'm not going to deny that it can get boring if there's nothing, like no wrecks or anything like that for 3 hours. Like, yeah, it can get boring, but it is a sight to see at least once.
Yeah,
Um,
and that was my second favorite experience was with Braden last year. Is I told him, don't put your headset on, don't have your earbuds in for the first couple laps because I said not only can you feel it in your
mhm,
chest, you can hear it, and he did. He looked at me and he mouthed it, what like holy, you know what?
yeah,
Once they was going up through the gears, and then when they came back around for that second lap, watching him and just his facial expression of how loud and how it felt, that's something you can't ever get on TV. You
no,
just cannot experience that. So
no,
that was my second experience, was just watching him experience it for the first time was great.
yeah. Um, do you guys think there is like what do you think is the hardest track? Don't everybody talk about
I
it?
said I said Darlington. I don't know what you guys think, but they every time we watch that, they're like always talking about the stripe on the wall. Those guys are always hitting the wall there, and it just eats the tires up. So I think that's got to be up there for one of the tougher tracks.
I
Of
got,
America.
oh, sorry, Ivan, go
Sorry.
ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
think Circus of America is that one of the. I agree, Darlington's tough too, but I think Circus of America is because you got a little bit of everything. You got a little road course, you got a little, oval, you got sharp turns that you got to slow down to 20 miles an hour or whatever on. And a lot of your drivers don't know how to drive road courses, and that's got kind of your little bit of everything in it. Like I said, so you got to know how to drive a road course, you got to know how to drive an oval, all that kind of stuff. That's why I picked that track.
Okay.
Yeah, I went with Martinsville. I mean, it's called the paperclip. I mean, it's narrow, it's hard to pass. Um, you got to be able to. What did I write down? Um, the heat issue on the brakes. You got to not bust your brakes out. But the hairpin turns, and you got to be so precise on your braking and acceleration, considering there's very little passing. And I think on a shorter track, that many laps, I think that is a hard track to consistently get on the brakes, but not burn them up,
Hmm.
get back on the acceleration and stuff like that. I just think that would be a really hard track. Plus, being so narrow, your opportunities to pass, you got to time it. You got to time it just right.
Yeah. Dad, what track would you eliminate?
Probably the Bowman Gray and that North
Oh
Wilkesboro,
yeah.
however you pronounce it.
I guess we talked about this, didn't we? I don't. Yeah. I.
I'd get rid of New Hampshire myself.
New Hampshire. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
I
boring.
agree. I agree
I,
with
I
that.
just think it's boring. Yeah, I mean, I just think they go in circles. I mean, yeah, it's NASCAR. You're supposed to go in circles, but man, New Hampshire, and it's got 2 races a year. So I mean, if you want to keep
I think a
one,
lot of
that's
those need to go
fine.
away. A lot of
But
the any of the dual races, any of the 2 races a year, I think need to go away.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, to me, I'd get rid of New Hampshire.
I don't like Homestead either. I think it's a boring track myself. A lot of people
Yeah.
would disagree with that, but I don't. I'm not a Homestead, or I don't enjoy that race personally.
What do you think, Bray?
Well, Gateway, St. Louis, the race there, they can't pass there either.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was last year or the year before that. We watched that race. That was that was a tough race. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just, they didn't have any passing on it. That could go.
Yeah.
Series only started racing at Gateway, a handful of years ago.
Yeah, it may have been the first year they were there. I don't remember when we watched it, but
Yeah, it's horrible. I agree.
yeah, that was hard to sit through that one.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if it has something to do with the flatter tracks. You can't keep your momentum and stuff, but there's just Kevin has a great point. There's enough tracks out there, and this year they're adding back Chicagoland, which I haven't raced that a year. If you don't like mile and a half, there's another mile and a half they're adding in. But they, I think Talladega. There's certain tracks I think they're going to keep too, but there's enough tracks out there. I think you could have, for the most part, just one race at every track,
Mm-hmm.
and that
I,
that also
I
may help the attendance at them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if the attendance is better at, if you got two races, I don't know if the first race the attendance better than the second. It'd be interesting to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know why they don't race at Auto Club more. They were there a couple of years ago. I think maybe during the pandemic they raced there, but I mean that it's on our. I have the NASCAR video game and it's on there, but
Yeah, they
I don't
used
know
to
why
race
those.
at it, but I don't know if they
I
do
thought it was a
anymore.
decent race. I don't remember why they stopped going there.
Um, I only got a couple more questions. Dad, you're again one of the more listening to these things. Who do you like as the announcers? Like who of the announcers do you like the most?
Joy overall is my favorite announcer.
Who?
I just think Mike Joy.
Mike Joy?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's my overall favorite. Um, I like DW as an announcer a little bit. Boogity 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 thing drove me up the wall. I think Kevin Harvick does a really good job now as
Okay.
current one. Now I do not like Clint Boyer. I know Braden does. I'm not a Clint Boyer fan. I didn't like him very much on the track, and I think he is a horrible announcer. But I'd have to go with Mike Joy and Kevin Harvick as the two best. And Jeff Burton is another one. I don't even know if he's still on there last year. I don't remember. I know he was the year before. I think he did a few last year. I don't know if he did them all, but I was a Jeff Burton fan as a racer, but not as an announcer.
Okay. Braden, who do you like?
I like Harvick as well, and then I like Earnhardt. I think he's good. I don't know what network he's on anymore, but
I think he's on Prime.
Harvick
Is he on
and
Prime? Okay.
if I could pair Harvick and Earnhardt together, that would be my top two.
All right. Doug?
Yeah, I like Harvick. I mean, he doesn't fabricate excitement. I mean,
That's a
Clint
good
Boyer and Jeff Burton. I mean, they're. I mean, it's the third lap and there's a pass, and you'd think it's the last lap for the championship. I mean, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Harvick's got the knowledge. He,
Yeah.
I don't know. He just sounds much more professional. A couple of those guys on there just sounds like you and I got on there and we have no clue what we're doing. So I just kind of like Harvick's level-headedness, and I think he's improved. I think he's really good.
That sounds like this podcast. None of us have any idea what we're doing. That's pretty much how this goes. The only question I have left is, who do you guys think will be the best driver in the next 5 years?
Braden, you go first.
Oh, sorry.
I think Hocevar.
You took mine. That's why I wanted him to go. I knew. Yeah, that's mine too. Hocevar. Yeah.
Like, he's young, but he's like, he doesn't care. Like, he's probably got to clean up some of the wrecking people. He probably can't keep doing that, but he's a good driver, and we'll see what he does this year. But I think he's in the next 5 years, he's going to probably be on a different team with better equipment. I think he'll be up competing every week.
Yeah, you stole my thunder. What do you got, bro?
I think he's going into the Cup Series this year. He won the championship in Xfinity last year. He raced for Junior last year, Motorsports, and he stepped up to the Cup Series this year, and he's racing for Trackhouse. And I think he's going to be something to contend with. He's only 23 years old, so he's got a long career. That's who I think is going to be really good.
Okay. Doug?
Yeah, Hocevar. I agree to Braden. He was my pick. So we haven't covered one thing. So is there one question I can
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm your dad and I've talked about this a little bit. So, um, most under and overrated drivers.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious, and I don't know who wants to go first because I have a feeling I may have some people hate me on the internet when I do mine. So I don't know if you want me to go last, first, middle. You tell me how you want to do this.
Um,
Or
Bray, why don't you go first?
All right, all right. Well, so overrated. I've got Alex Bowman. I don't think he's that good, and I think I'm surprised he still has a job this year. But I thought Hocevar could replace him in the 48 car, maybe next year or something. But I don't. He's not. In my opinion, he's not very good. Underrated. I said Briscoe again. I think he's maybe after last year he probably got a little bit more respect this year, but I think he's underrated.
Okay. Dad, what do you say?
overrated is that Shane Disenberg or whatever his name is. They praise him like some kind of a god, and the only track that he can run is the road courses. There again, you got Burton acting like just absolutely stupid on the television, praising him. I think he's way overrated, and underrated to me is Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones could be a very good driver. He's just had a lot of issues. He was with Petty, then Jimmy Johnson took over Petty and really sold it out from underneath of Richard Petty, which I think is entirely wrong. I have no respect for Jimmy Johnson anymore whatsoever. But I think if he was with a solid team and had good equipment, great equipment like Hendrick or Childress or one of those, I think Eric Jones would have several wins under his belt.
Okay. Doug, let's hear the controversy.
Well, I didn't even really go current. I went kind of more historical,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think the most overrated drivers, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Okay.
Um,
I mean,
I
I
agree.
get
know
that. Yeah.
I just I understand he had 26 wins. Um, he had 4 top 5 finishes, and I know he had some big shoes to step into. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean,
it
that was
was kind of
his.
like,
He
but
he
my
inherited a
God,
lot of his dad's.
he did, but
Yeah.
I still feel that he was so overrated. And I mean, I do. I think he's a great guy, and I think he's a good announcer. But on the track, I mean, he was a second coming of God, and he really wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't talented, but he wasn't what everyone built him up to be. And some of that was out of his control at the same time.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
I'm gonna
think.
sound
Yeah.
like
I
a
don't think that was. I don't think that was his fault. I think that was a
yeah,
lot of the
yeah,
fans.
and I think part of that's why he didn't drive longer than he did. I think I think he kind of lost the passion, and I think he also felt like no matter what I do, I'm never going to live up to my father's image, and I think it just he grew up in it, but I just don't think he liked I just don't think his passion was there. But and I'm gonna sound like a homer here. My most underrated driver is Bobby Labonte. I know he's my favorite driver, but he was the first driver to win in the top 2 cups. He won a championship in the top 2 tiered racing, the first person to ever do it. He had a total of 203 wins. He won a championship, and he had 21 wins. And I think he just kind of get brushed under. I think Terry, his brother, was a little bit better driver. I think Ivan, you can correct me, but didn't Terry win 2 championships?
I think Cherry won too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he was kind of in the shadow of his big brother and stuff. And like I said, maybe I'm being a little bit of a homer here and stuff, but yeah, I mean, currently, I think current drivers, I think Ivan nailed it with Shane Van Gisbergen. He showed improvement, and there's no doubt he's dominant on the road courses. But yeah, you would think he's a second coming of God too, with the way the announcers talk. So, but I don't know that I have an underrated necessarily currently. I was thinking historically more than anything.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I understand though. Like, yes, you might get some backlash from the 3 people that listen to this podcast, but I don't know that anybody else is gonna ever hear this, so it doesn't really matter. And even if somebody else does, who really cares?
I'm just trying to get you some comments,
Yeah,
So.
whatever. Anyway, I think that's it for this week, guys. Thanks for coming on and talking NASCAR for an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. Dad, thanks for coming on for the first time. How was it? Okay. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Nick hopefully will be back this next week. So I don't have to look at these ugly mugs again.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and I will talk to you guys next week.